Medical Freedom Amendment Presentation, Dallas, Texas, March 2025. National Health Federation, 70th Anniversary Celebration. What could have been and is not? What can be and should? Medical Freedom Amendment. The Medical Freedom Amendment is the answer. The MFA, when passed, will protect the individual, secure life on each person's terms, protect medical choice, enhance public health and safety, provide facts, and counter the forces denying these goals with legal authority. The COVID-19 debacle had the media whip us into a frenzy of fear and desperation by controlled propaganda. Looking back, we can now see it demonstrates gaping holes of reason and soundness. The political, economic, and health narratives were manipulation and propaganda by a mass media government campaigns. The results that emerged are the destruction of medical freedom, medical sanity, and the health of the nation. It divided the nation between believers and non-believers. Meanwhile, massive suffering by both groups took place. The confusion and distrust produced a public that eventually recognized we had been deceived, misled, bluffed, gaslighted, hoodwinked, hoaxed, and sold out. There was enough of that electorate to say, "We will determine the election." Once Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was accepted by the Republicans and rejected by the Democrats, the election results were determined and delivered. There was a medical mandate determined by the voters who remained with RFK Jr. People were angry with the abuse and witnessing the denial of a fair hearing of different narratives regarding all the events with COVID-19. They also came to comprehend the influence of the World Health Organization, WHO, and its power to determine our sovereign rights to body autonomy and informed consent. The anger grew as families lost beloved healthy members to an outdated medical system, controlled and propagandized by the pharmaceutical industry. Voters facing this issue had no other choice and recognized that health is the easiest element to propagandize, to create public fear and distrust, and to remove freedom and liberty. Informed consent is a rule of law, which means that it cannot be preempted, nor is it conditional by the passage of any law denying it. Therefore, there are no conditions restraining its actions. Informed consent goes hand in hand with medical choice. One cannot make a medical choice without informed consent. Nevertheless, this rule of law was denied and ignored. Did you know that the Pfizer shots listed hundreds of side effects, bad effects? There can only be good or bad effects prior to approval? Were you ever told that? Were you told that you were being injected with a countermeasure, an experimental genetically modified organism, GMO? Of course you were not, and that means you were denied your informed consent. Our government must protect society at all levels. It failed by denying the open discussion of medical therapeutics and analysis of scientific and medical observations. It incurred the greatest egregious actions against we, the people. It denied informed consent. Pharma colluded through past legislative acts to deny justice and a reckoning of the injustices and abuses. It did this by authority of the USA Patriot Act of 2001 and the PrEP Act of 2005 to function as a military response countermeasure with immunity from liability. Courts egregiously adhered to these laws, further denying children the protection of their parents. However, there are elections and change takes place. How great the change will depend on the will of a few and the cognizance of the many. Now more than ever is our opportunity to protect our freedom and our health. This can only occur in an open society and a responsible government. Medical freedom is an inalienable right and must be guaranteed to every person through a constitutional amendment. Once the MFA becomes law, it will provide clear legal action to eliminate medical propaganda and pharmaceutical advertising. It will also provide the legal path to intellectual freedom in medicine and science. We need to protect the freedom of medicine and offer the many other modes of medicine, including the world of herbal medicine, bionutrition, biochemistry, and biophysics, which include homeopathy, osteopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture, and many other schools of medicine. We are in a public health crisis. The facts portend a deepening of that crisis unless we act now. Here are some facts. In 2023, we spent $4.9 trillion on healthcare, 6 times more than national defense. Total spending was $14,750 per person, or $58,000 for a family of 4. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, reported 3.8 chronic diseases in persons who died from COVID-19. Statistics show 50% of the population as obese or overweight. Compare that with Japan, which has 3%. 1 out of 3 children are diabetic, and 18% of teens have liver dysfunction. Meanwhile, 47% of advertising revenues in the media are from pharmaceutical ads. As Abraham Lincoln, an advocate of homeopathic medicine, said, "I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts." How can we bring real facts? How can we change the government to enhance medical freedom and personal health? Deep inside, people know there must be change. Lincoln's words are literal, a foundation for our democratic livelihood. People must have the real facts. This is what RFK Jr. bases his goals to seek progress against a wealthy and powerful opposition. The Medical Freedom Amendment should be the prime goal of every nation as the very basis of health freedom. It is the essential necessity to protect each and everyone's rights to control their health. The time to act is now. All people have the right to secure their health in the manner they choose. Congress, the President, state legislatures, and executives, governmental agencies or departments shall make no law, rule, regulation, countermeasure, executive order, emergency declaration, or enter into any treaty or international agreement that impedes the individual's rights to informed consent, nor right to medical choice, nor freedom of medical choice. The treaty provision of Article 6 of this Constitution shall not apply in any way to this amendment. Nor shall the President, Congress, state legislatures and executives, governmental agencies or departments make any law, rule, regulation, countermeasure, executive order, emergency declaration, or enter into any treaty or international agreement that impedes the individual's right to medical privacy and freedom without individual and specific judicial warrants supported by oath and affirmation of necessary cause to protect society from harm, describing the individual's condition and danger it presents. The Medical Freedom Amendment, org. Campaign through the nhf.com/campaigns. October 2025, presented by Michael Levesque.